Let me ask you a question. Have you ever noticed how sometimes, the more effort you put into impressing someone younger, the more distant they seem to become? You dress sharp, you talk about your success, you might even tell stories about the past, yet instead of being impressed, the younger woman across from you looks at you like you're out of touch. Why is that? Why do some older men lose attraction instantly, while others, without even trying, can capture a woman's respect and admiration? Welcome to Deep Stoic So, where we explore timeless wisdom, modern relationships, and the truth about attraction through the eyes of great philosophers like Marcus Aurelius. Before we dive in, make sure you hit subscribe to my channel and give this video a like, because what you're about to hear may change your love life forever. And trust me, you don't want to miss a single part of this, because each of these 7 habits I'll reveal can silently kill attraction when you're dating someone younger. Now let's set the stage with a story. Picture Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, not as the marble statue you see in history books, but as a man who had to constantly balance power, wisdom, and relationships. Even though he ruled the world's most powerful empire, he never relied on his status to earn respect. He understood a core truth. People are drawn not to what you say you have, but to how you carry yourself. The same applies to attraction today. You see, the problem is not age. In fact, age can be an advantage. It brings maturity, experience, and wisdom, things many younger women admire. The problem lies in certain habits older men fall into without realizing it. Habits that scream insecurity, arrogance, or neediness. And when these habits show up, attraction dies instantly. Think about it. Have you ever been in a conversation where instead of connecting, you found yourself lecturing, bragging, or trying too hard to prove you're still relevant? Younger women pick up on that immediately. They don't hate your age, they hate when you act out of fear of your age. And that's exactly what Marcus Aurelius warned us against, letting external things define our worth. So in this video, I'll walk you through 7 habits that kill attraction when older men date younger women. Not from a shallow, modern dating coach perspective, but through the lens of Stoic philosophy. Because if you understand how to master yourself, you'll never have to worry about chasing or impressing anyone. Instead, you'll naturally attract respect, admiration, and yes, even desire. Stay with me until the end, because not only will we uncover these 7 habits, but I'll also give you a Stoic-inspired way to break free from them. By the time you finish this video, you'll see exactly why some older men fail and why others become unforgettable. So are you ready to discover the truth? Let's begin. Habit 1. Bragging about status. Let me tell you something most men don't realize, especially older men who are dating younger women. The very moment you start bragging about your wealth, your cars, your position, or even the good old days, you think you're making yourself more attractive. But in her heart, she feels the opposite. Why? Because bragging doesn't sound like confidence, it sounds like fear. Fear of losing relevance, fear of not being enough, fear that without those things, she wouldn't want you. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." And that's where most men go wrong. Instead of simply being, they try to convince. But think about it, have you ever fallen in love with someone because they told you how great they were? Or did you fall for the small, quiet moments? The laughter you shared, the comfort in silence, the way they looked at you as if the whole world disappeared? Now pause here for a second. Think about your first love. Do you remember how pure it felt? How you didn't need to list your achievements or flex your worth. You just showed up as you were, and that was enough. That's exactly what younger women crave too, not a resume, not a speech, but authenticity. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire in the world, yet he never needed to shout about it. He walked humbly, lived simply, and carried himself with a calm that spoke louder than any words. That's what made him admirable, not his crown, but his character. When you brag, you pull the attention away from connection and turn the moment into a performance. But when you live in quiet confidence, you invite her into your story instead of forcing her to watch your highlight reel. And trust me, women, especially younger women, can feel the difference instantly. So ask yourself, do you want her to remember the list of things you said you owned, or the way you made her feel when you spoke from the heart? Attraction is never built on status, it's built on presence, humility, and a sense of security that no amount of bragging can fake. That's why the first habit you must kill is bragging. Stop proving, start being. Habit 2, acting like a know-it-all. Have you ever been on a date where someone just wouldn't stop correcting you? Lecturing you? Or trying to prove they were the smartest person in the room? It feels suffocating, doesn't it? Now imagine a younger woman sitting across from an older man who constantly positions himself as the teacher, the advisor, or the all-knowing expert. At first, she might politely listen, but deep down she feels like she's not being seen as a partner, just a student. And trust me, attraction dies in that moment. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in his Meditations, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed." This humility, this openness to listen rather than dominate, is exactly what younger women crave. They don't want a man who claims to know it all. They want a man who is curious, present, and willing to grow alongside them. Now let's pause here. Think about your own love story. Maybe your first one. Do you remember those late-night conversations where you stayed up for hours? Not because you were teaching each other, but because you were exploring each other's worlds. You asked questions, you listened, you laughed at silly things. That's what created the bond, not a lecture, but a shared journey. The danger of acting like a know-it-all is that it steals that magic. It replaces curiosity with arrogance. Instead of being a man she wants to open up to, you become a man she feels judged by. And no woman, especially a younger one, wants to feel like she's constantly under a microscope. Marcus Aurelius, despite ruling an empire, often reminded himself, "Remember, you are just a man." If the most powerful man on earth could humble himself to learn from others, what excuse do we have to act like we've already figured it all out? So here's the truth. A younger woman doesn't hate older men. She hates when older men use their age as a weapon to claim superiority. What wins her heart is when you put aside the role of the teacher and step into the role of a partner. Listen to her, laugh with her, let her surprise you. That humility is not weakness, it's the ultimate strength. That's why the second habit you must kill is acting like a know-it-all. Stop lecturing, start listening. Habit 3, acting insecure about age. One of the fastest ways older men kill attraction is by constantly drawing attention to their age, saying things like, "I'm too old for this," or "back in my day." Might feel harmless, but to a younger woman, it sounds like insecurity wrapped in humor. Instead of seeing your age as strength, you turn it into a weakness. And insecurity, no matter how you dress it up, is never attractive. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Your age is an outside event. You can't change it, but you can change how you carry it. The problem is many older men let age dominate their mind. They compare themselves to younger guys, worry about their looks, or joke about being too old. And every time they do, they chip away at the attraction she once felt. Now let's pause here. Think back to your first love. Do you remember how little age mattered then? You didn't think about years or numbers. You thought about the way her smile made your heart race, or how her hand felt when it first touched yours. That's the truth about love. It's not about calendars. It's about connection. When you bring up your age too often, you remind her of a gap that she may not have even been thinking about. Instead of focusing on the joy of the moment, she's now reminded of the years between you. But when you carry yourself with quiet confidence, when you own your age without letting it define you, she feels safe, respected, and even drawn closer to you. Marcus Aurelius ruled Rome in his later years, not his youth. His wisdom, his calmness, his ability to stay grounded, that's what made people follow him, not his age. Similarly, your maturity and steadiness can be your greatest attraction, but only if you wear it like armor, not like a burden. So ask yourself, do you want her to remember your jokes about being old? Or the way you made her feel timeless when you were together? Attraction isn't killed by age, it's killed by insecurity about age. That's why the third habit you must kill is acting insecure about it. Don't apologize for your years. Carry them with pride, and let her see the strength that comes from them. Habit 4, trying too hard to impress. One of the most subtle but destructive habits older men fall into is trying too hard to impress. It might be overspending on fancy dinners, overloading her with gifts, or constantly planning grand gestures. At first glance, it may look like care, but underneath, it often reveals desperation, an attempt to buy attraction instead of earning it. And nothing makes a younger woman lose interest faster than feeling like you're performing instead of being real. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your thoughts are rooted in fear. Fear of losing her. Fear of not being enough. You'll naturally act in ways that expose that fear. You'll try too hard. But if your thoughts are grounded in self-respect, your actions will reflect quiet confidence and she will feel it deeply. Let me ask you something. Do you remember your first love? Think back for a moment. Not about the money you spent or the gifts you gave, but about the simple memories that still live in your heart. Maybe it was walking home under the stars, sharing ice cream, or just sitting together in silence that felt full of meaning. Those weren't impressive gestures, they were authentic connections. And that's what younger women secretly crave. Presence, not performance. When an older man tries too hard, it feels like he's hiding behind gestures instead of showing his true self. It's like putting on a mask. Attractive for a moment, but exhausting to keep up. And eventually, she sees through it. Compare that to a man who simply enjoys her company, laughs with her, listens to her stories, and lets moments unfold naturally. That man doesn't need to impress because his confidence is already attractive. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire yet lived simply, often reminding himself, very little is needed to make a happy life. Apply that wisdom to love. Very little is needed to spark attraction. It's not in the show. It's in the soul. So here's the truth. She doesn't remember the price of the dinner or the size of the gift. She remembers how you made her feel safe, seen, and cherished. That's why the fourth habit you must kill is trying too hard to impress. Stop performing. Start connecting. Habit 5, being overly controlling. Another habit that kills attraction, especially between older men and younger women, is being overly controlling. It can show up in subtle ways, deciding where she should go, what she should wear, who she should talk to, or even the tone of, "I know what's best for you." At first, you may think you're showing care or guidance, but to her it feels suffocating. What she hears isn't love, it's a cage. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That means the only thing you can truly control is yourself. Trying to control someone else is not strength, it's weakness. It shows fear of losing them, fear of not being enough, fear that without control they'll walk away. But here's the paradox, the more you try to hold on, the faster they slip through your fingers. Think for a moment about your first love. Do you remember how magical it felt when you both had freedom to be yourselves? When she laughed in her own way, when she made her own choices, when you discovered each other's worlds without trying to change them. That's where the real intimacy grew, in freedom, not in control. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine silencing her voice, cutting her choices, or making her feel small just to keep her close. That might create compliance, but it will never create attraction. Younger women, especially, will feel it immediately. They don't hate older men. They hate when older men mistake dominance for love. Marcus Aurelius, despite being emperor, never demanded absolute control over every small detail of life. He understood that true strength was in self-mastery, not domination. The same applies to love. A man who trusts himself doesn't need to control his partner because he knows his worth and respects hers. So ask yourself honestly, do you want her to remember you as the man who clipped her wings, or the one who gave her the space to fly and still chose to stand by her side? Attraction grows where freedom lives. That's why the fifth habit you must kill is being overly controlling. Love is not about possession, it's about presence. Habit 6, neglecting emotional connection. One of the most damaging habits older men fall into is focusing only on the physical or material side of the relationship while neglecting the emotional bond. They think that money, stability, or even physical presence is enough. But here's the truth, without emotional connection, attraction fades like a candle burning out. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." Notice that last word, to love. Love isn't just physical attraction. It's emotional presence, shared memories, and a sense of being deeply understood. Think back to your own love story. Do you remember the moments when you felt closest to her? It probably wasn't the expensive dinner or the gift. It was when she told you her fears at midnight and you listened. It was when you laughed together until your stomach hurt. It was when you felt like you could share your soul without judgment. Those moments live longer than any physical spark. Younger women especially crave this emotional intimacy. If an older man neglects it, if he avoids deeper conversations, if he never asks how she really feels, If he treats love like a checklist instead of a journey, she will slowly detach. She doesn't hate older men. She hates feeling invisible in a relationship that should make her feel alive. Marcus Aurelius ruled the largest empire, yet in his writings, he constantly reflected on human connection, on empathy, on being present for others. If the Emperor of Rome had time to reflect on love and connection, what excuse do we have to ignore it? True strength isn't found in gifts or power, it's found in presence and empathy. So let me ask you, when she looks back on her time with you, will she remember the car you drove? Or will she remember the way you looked into her eyes when she poured out her heart? Will she remember the gifts or the nights you held her when she cried? That's why the sixth habit you must kill is neglecting emotional connection. Love is not built on things, it's built on feelings. And feelings are born from presence. Habit 7, losing purpose and passion. The final habit that kills attraction is when older men lose their sense of purpose and passion. A man without direction becomes stagnant, and stagnation is deeply unattractive. Younger women don't just want a partner, they want to feel the fire of life in him. When a man stops chasing growth, stops being curious, or simply drifts through life without vision, she feels it. Attraction fades not because of age, but because of the lack of energy that purpose brings. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." Think about that. Life isn't about existing, it's about living with intention. When an older man loses that spark, he unconsciously communicates, "I've already lived. I have nothing left to give." But to her that means, "I have nothing left to share with you." Now pause for a moment. Think back to your love story, maybe that first one. Do you remember how alive you felt when you were dreaming together? Maybe you spoke about the future, about adventures, about silly plans that may never have happened. But they made your hearts race. That energy wasn't about the details, it was about the passion. That's what she remembers. That's what she still wants. Younger women aren't looking for a man who's perfect or endlessly youthful. They're looking for a man who wakes up with excitement, who has goals, who is building something, even if it's just becoming a better version of himself. Passion is magnetic. Without it, conversations dry up, connection weakens, and love feels more like routine than romance. Marcus Aurelius, despite endless battles and heavy burdens, always kept his mind active, his curiosity alive, his pursuit of wisdom relentless. He showed that true strength is not about being young, it's about staying alive in spirit. That's exactly what makes a man unforgettable. So let me ask you, do you want her to look at you and see a man who gave up? Or a man who still has fire in his eyes, still learning, still loving, still living? Passion is not about age, it's about spirit. That's why the seventh habit you must kill is losing purpose and passion. Stay alive, not just in body, but in soul. That's what keeps attraction burning. Conclusion. So let's take a step back and reflect. We've uncovered 7 habits that silently kill attraction when older men date younger. Women, bragging about status, acting like a know-it-all, being insecure about age, trying too hard to impress, being overly controlling, neglecting emotional connection, and losing purpose and passion. What's the common thread running through all of them? Fear. Fear of not being enough. Fear of losing relevance. Fear of not being loved. And as Marcus Aurelius taught, fear is only in the mind. It is not reality. He reminded us that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Which means attraction isn't about your age, your wealth, or your status. It's about how you carry yourself, how you love, and how you live. Younger women don't hate older men. They hate when older men betray themselves, when they live from insecurity instead of confidence, when they chase instead of connect, when they stop living with fire. So if you remember just one thing from this video, let it be this: stop proving, stop controlling, stop fearing, start being. That's where true attraction is born. Now before you go, I want to leave you with one final thought. Think about the love stories in your life. The first time you held someone's hand, the first time you felt truly seen, the laughter that still echoes in your memory. Those moments weren't built on age or wealth. They were built on presence, authenticity, and passion. That's exactly what you can create again right now, no matter how old you are. But here's the catch. You have to take the lessons we shared today and live them. Don't just nod along. Start applying them. The moment you stop bragging, stop trying to impress, stop fearing your age, and instead focus on connection, humility, freedom, and purpose, you'll notice the shift. Attraction won't be something you chase. It will be something you naturally inspire. If this video sparks something in you, then do me a favor. Hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Deep Stoic. I'm building a community of men who want to live with wisdom, purpose, and strength. Men who want to attract love by mastering themselves, just as Marcus Aurelius once taught. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.